Hi folks, welcome back. This is Project Bonneville number 8, if you like. This is an extended little series of modifications to Penny Pit Stop's Bonneville, which is making it look better, handle better and ride much more superbly. So far she's given it an 11 out of 10, haven't you?
Yep.
The handling?
111 out of 10.
111, so she likes it quite a lot.
I like it a lot.
The better tyres, the lowered suspension, the lighter weight, some 7 stone in weight, saved off the bike with a super lightweight exhaust, and all from Tech Bike parts. You can see what we've done here. We've had a little bit of a shopping spree with Tech, because then we get cheaper postage. You're not sending off to all different people, and they've got everything we want, as you can see. Now the next thing on the list, as y'all can see, is a sump guard from Tech. This is the one they do. Just a basic, straightforward, pressed aluminium sump guard, anodised in clear. Now, not to be confused with the big bash plate that I've been making for the Scrambler. We did suggest maybe that was going to go on Penny's bike, but we don't think so now, do we?
I want my bike very light.
Very light.
And
light and fluffy, like a cake. Okay, so that's going to stay on the Scrambler and that project will keep going. But this is, honestly, it weighs about 6-7 ounces. It's very light. And the beauty of it is for, how much is it, Penny?
$49.99 plus postage. And I thought I would treat myself.
There we are. So it's basically for £50 you protect some extremely expensive area underneath the bike. If you knock the frame itself, if you put a lump out the frame, remember Penny's bike's been lowered, so little things like sleeping policemen, curbs, anything you might bump up, there is a possibility that that front edge of the frame can be caught on the ground. So it's just a sump guard for safekeeping for a lousy £50. If you beat a lump out of it, it doesn't matter, you can just do it again. Now with this one, obviously it's come in this silver colour. They come with a little pack of fastenings, and a very, very simple job to fit them. There's a little bracket that goes on the front, just on that main bracket between the rails, and as you can see there, 2 clips that just go over the frame on the back. And later on today, once this is all cured and the paint is dry, because we're going to paint it, I'll show you how that gets fitted. It's really easy. I might even get Penny to fit it. Right, so that is, at the moment, as you can see, the last colour we're going to want on the bike. It's a silver clear anodising, which is great. It's going to be weatherproof and all sorts of proof, but it's no good. It doesn't look right. So what we're going to do with it is paint it with the Plastidip. Been doing a little bit of a test. This is the stuff concerned. There's a long-term test going on with Plastidip, so I'm not going to go back to it yet, but this is the stuff. It's this spray-on latex finish that everybody's raving about. And I think it's the right thing. We're going to paint it with this, a good thick outer coating of it to protect it and to make it black. And when it's done, if this rubbery finish isn't right, you can use things like a little bit of silicone on it and wipe it over, and it comes up nice and sheeny like a bit of satin. Looks a bit nicer. Somebody say sheeny. Right, okay, so let's get stuck in. I'm going to set the workshop up area for a bit of painting. Let's get it painted so it can dry and we can fit it on the bike. Right, you don't have to rub down or scuff up for this Plastidip. It's pretty good stuff. It sticks to anything. It's a liquid latex coating and it will stick, but to get the grease off I just use glass cleaner, which is a great degreaser. It's got amino acids in it which will take all the grease off completely, so give you a good adhesion. A lot of the time what you're taking off when you do this is the manufacturing residue. It's been touched by a dozen hands before it comes to you. And it just makes sure you get a good finish. Okay, with this Plastidip product, it forms a skin around the bash plate. As I found with the other one, it's quite important to wrap that skin right around the bash plate. If you don't do that, then when you're finished, it will, if you just put it on the front face, it will peel back like a skin. So it needs like a spot treatment on this side to give it a lip to hold on to before you go spraying it around the front. Good thick layer on the edge, and this is just, as the painters among you will know, this is just literally spot painting concentrating on an area that needs it before you start the real paint. Right, that's all that needs. That will give it a good thick skin all the way around. Okay, you let that dry so I can spin it over and get the top coats on. I'm just standing it so that I can get to all parts of it. I learned a little trick from Milo some time ago. You know, Milo is my paint guru. He's the guy I learned pretty much all the later tricks I know about this, and it really works well. One of these common sense tricks is before you start painting something, just do a pretend round the job with the can or spray gun, whatever you're using, just to make sure you can get round it all. You can walk round it all, and there's not a bucket in the way, so when you're halfway around you fall over a bucket. Do a Miranda. Funny, but not cool when you're trashing paint job. Just get everything in place, ready for the job. It's not going to fall over halfway through, because that ain't cool. Right, I reckon that'll do. Do you reckon? Get the first coat on. Spraying on the edge first, just to join those two together, and I've done it while that's still damp. Right, first coat, just get it even. It's not like regular paint at all. When you use this stuff, if you're going to get involved in it, you'll see straight away that you are clearly, you can see it's latex, you're spraying rubber on there. And it runs and it will sag and you'll trash it just like any other paint. Doesn't even go airborne. This is another point. If I was using regular aerosol paint, I'd have a mask on or at least a scarf, but it doesn't even seem to go airborne. It just sort of all goes there. As you can see around this piece of cardboard, it just drops. It's very, very heavy. Right, just concentrate on the area that's going to get the most bashage from the weather, and that nice top lip. Under there. There we go. We'll leave that now. Let's go and have a cup of tea, shall we, Pin? Give that 10 minutes to dry off. Now this stuff dries matte, but you can buy, if you want to use this, you can buy a gloss.
Glossifier.
Reason Penny sounds like Bane is she's got a mask on. You can buy a glossifier.
Glossifier.
You'll need it. Thank you for the glossifier, we're going to need it. It goes on a bit lumpy. Doesn't go on like normal paint at all, but it ain't normal. Just concentrate on those edges, it is very important. Get it right on that cut edge and it won't peel back. Put the rest on now. Just going to put 3 good coats on. Did one in between. I want to show you every one of them. While it's quite stodgy and porridgey looking, it's not going to run. When it gets real glossy, then it's the danger it can make a break for freedom and start sagging. And if it does, and you don't want that look, you've got to, which you obviously wouldn't, I'm afraid you've got to wait till it's completely dry and rip it off and start again. So I can edit out. Nearly there.
Sticks out.
What was that, Bane?
It's sticking now, I said.
And that gives you power over me. That's it. Done. One tin of plastic dip. Right. All we're going to do now is let that set. Let it turn into a nice, solid, durable skin, which takes a couple of hours or so we can touch it, maul it about, and then we'll be ready to mount it on the bike. Okay, so join us for the next bit. Okay, all dry now. Literally 3.5 hours ago we painted that, and what I did was, as it all got over the sides of this tin, you can use that as a guide whether it's dry enough to handle, which it is, as you can see, so that's fine. And I think you'll agree that it's come out very well. Absolutely chuffed with that. It's a beautiful finish. The inside doesn't matter, it's just as long as it's over that edge, as I said, so that it doesn't peel off. If you just spray on there only, then you'll find that it will peel back at the edges as soon as it gets any weather on it. Okay, so I'm still not going to be quite careful with it. It's drying away nicely. And we'll get that fitted on the bike. Now it comes with a little fitting kit. You get 2 little lugs which go over the frame rails like that inside. Just go to there. At the back there you've got 2 holes. Quite simply, they fit that way and bolt down, so that will be up the other way. And that bracket goes on the front. Now we've all seen this on the other bike, and I did Project Bash Plate. That's the little bracket on the front, and I've taken the 2 top bolts out. Now that's the factory bolt that goes in there, and when it's in place, feeling on the back, there is barely 2 threads hanging out the back of this. And this kit comes with this rather neat powder coated little bracket and some nice little round button fitting bolts on the front, but that's got a bolt onto there like that, so that produces the bracket to bolt bash plate 2, and that thickness, if you put those through, takes away that 1 or 2 threads that were sticking out the back. So having test bolted that through, there's nothing sticking out, you're not getting a full nut, as they say. So what I've done, what I've chosen to do, is lengthen the bolts by that much on there to give myself just enough sticking out the back. You don't have to do that, you can fit those, put some thread lock on them and they'll be absolutely fine, but I'm going to go with a little bit of an upgrade. So first of all, simple washers on there. Put the washers in, you get a nice fit, and they're a 12mm head. You bolt those straight into the frame bracket. You see all right now? Alright, so do them up till they're as good as in. Leave it a little bit loose, and you can feel with your hand whether that is equal in the centre. Just put your thumb and your finger either side, and you'll feel on this actual bracket here, this bracket is the same width as this bracket, the 2 of them at the back there. So if you pinch your fingers around the back, you can feel and centralise the bracket perfectly, which means when you bolt the bash plate on, it will be central. And if you're like me, you will have to have it central. There we are, that's done. Snip those up. Let's get that in there, let's actually do it with it. And that's the first half of the job, just fit the brackets in place. There we are. Torque them up if you want to, 28 newtons, but I'm not bothered, just do them wrist tight like that. There you go. And they'll be fine. Okay, now that produces a bracket just there, which is perfect for bolting that too. Now one thing I will say, my friend Alex said a little while ago, because he's plastic dipped his whole bike, or the bodywork on his bike, and he found that when you bolt a bolt into a piece of bodywork that's been plastic dip sprayed, or even new paintwork, just regular new paintwork that's still soft, if you actually bear the naked bolt there straight in, as it goes right home and you tighten it up, the actual head, the back edge of that head, rubs against the paint and it turns in a turning motion and it will twist. I saw a photograph of Alex's bike where he'd done a bolt up, it had twisted the paint in a horrible little twist, and I think a few of you might have seen that on decals as well. On the side fairings of your sports bike, if you've got a bolt that goes through a decal and you bolt it up tight, it can twist the PVC, the plastic of the decal. So always put a washer in place. And all that does, if you pop a washer in, I'll find the right size one in a minute. When you put the washer in place, then as you can see there, the washer, I'll use a proper washer that's correct size. The washer bears against it and stays still. The plastic dip will hold the washer still, and the bolt, being more slippery, will turn on its own and you won't get that damage to the paintwork. So it pays to stick a washer in place if you've got a painted surface. The kit doesn't come with one, but it's a washer. I'm sure you've got a box full. So let's get some correct washers sorted out and we'll do the brackets underneath. Right, when you're fitting this on, obviously up the front here, pop in your neatly washed 2 bolts, nice and carefully, and just do them up very gently. They only want a few turns to start with, just so you've got room to move around underneath. And just use the Allen key, just turn them in till there's about probably 5mm of play, like that, just to give you room to move, and just leave those there. Now underneath, what I've done, just to keep it in the area, I've just supported it on a roll of masking tape just to hold that, stop it from stressing against the bolts up here. And the brackets here, pretty straightforward. As you can see, what they do, that goes over the frame rail like that and produces a bracket here, and when the two are clamped together, the bash plate and that squeeze around the frame rail and hold it neatly. Now this, rather nicely, I'm quite impressed with that. That's very soft powder coat. There's no edges, no burrs. That's lovely. That's going to definitely be quite protective. But if you're worried, what you could do is you could line that with plastic dip inside there, or you could just put a little layer of inner tube if you're really worried, but then it's going to be quite a tight fit over the bar. But that's okay as it is. And all I've done, they go in just behind the sump and locate. But here, as you can see, if you can see that on the camera,
I don't know if you can see it.
There's a little clip that holds this loom wire that goes along underneath. And all I've done is pop that clip out of the way because it's preventing it from doing up. So you just pop that off, because this wire is now going to be up inside the area of the bash plate like that. So it's still protected, so you can do without that clip because it doesn't need to be held out of the way by that. The bash plate does it. So once that clip's out of the way, you can then move that clip, because this bracket doesn't go far enough forward with the clip in the way. And then here's a couple more bolts. Nice stainless bolt again, pop a washer on, protect the surface. And then with a couple of jiggles and a wiggle, it's a case of just finding and locating the bolt. I think it's in the top here, if I may. Let me just borrow that. That's it, okay. And you can find, just by poking around, you'll find it, and it will locate quite nicely into the thread on the bracket, like that. And again, do it up till there's about ½ inch of play left. Leave it like that, then do the other side accordingly. And you can reach the other side from here. Don't need to go on the other side of the bike. Yeah, and feed the bracket in. That's it. Okay, now before you do these up tight, you're going to do the front ones up, because that's the method, or the amount of backward slide. So with the front ones, just pop that in like that. Do them up there. Okay, now with these, I know you might as well do a good job. As you see, the washers are just a bit bigger than the thread, so I'm just going to pick that up, move the washer up till it's absolutely in the centre, and then nip it in place, rather than letting them hang down. No sniggering at the back. There we are. Okay, now you can do that up tight as you need to without fear of twisting the paint. There we are. And they're a 5mm Allen key, and as that's that size thread, it'd be about 12 newtons would be fine, but just wrist tight again, no problem. Right, let's do the other side up. Okay, and feel around for them. Let's do them up by hand first, and just hold the brackets in place to make sure that as the bolts finally seat home, the bracket is nicely seated and it's not twisted or kinked or anything. So you get a nice flat surface against the powder coat of the frame that's not later on going to twist or damage it. Here we are. There we are. Okay, finally, where these have gone through, there's a little bit of thread poking out the back, probably 6mm or so, and there's a couple of nylock nuts in the kit, so I'm just going to poke them on the back there. Belt and braces. So you double lock that front, checked. And just do those up. There we are. That's it. Japan?
That's great.
Now, a little way that you can deal with this, let me show you. There's a product some time ago that I found when Penny bought her first Harley iron, and I'm not going to promote this product and I wouldn't suggest you buy it, but we've still got it. It's this denim paint cleaner. It's the same as the window cleaning stuff that I do for degreasing, and this Plastidip rubber latex stuff is perfect. And when you've got a few finger marks, you just wipe it off. It's great for matte paint. Takes all the finger marks off everything. Nice microfiber cloth, and just stroke it gently against it, and it works really well. But again, the glass cleaner is just as good. It's just an evaporating cleaner. Then to the dry side, and just wipe it off. And there we go, one bash plate. Now, that really, we didn't really need to fit that, but as I said, we had a little bit of Farkle shopping with our good friends at Tech, and it was just something that was nice to buy. So, one bash plate. It's not difficult to fit, as you can see, 4 bolts. It really is one of those accessories you can pop on yourself, and it gives a nice, probably I reckon ½ inch from the frame. There's a big gap all around it. It's nicely made, and it fits quite neatly. I would imagine actually if you bash that on something quite hard, the way it feels, it's quite solid. So it's quite a good piece of kit if you actually want it as a proper bash plate. But for Penny, it's a bit of a dress up thing, isn't it? So it just looks nice.
It looks lovely. Thank you.
Okay, there we are. Take it easy. Hope you like that. Ride safe. See you for the next one.